Well, I said it was going to be one of the better playoff games, if not playoff seasons, in recent memory, and I was correct. It was. Because you cannot tell me with a few games here and there that from the wild card to yesterday, the conference championships, that you did not see some nail biters, you did not see some teams bringing it to the very end, because that's exactly what we got. Yes, there were some exceptions. Green Bay, Dallas, Baltimore, Houston, there's no doubt there were exceptions, but from the very beginning, though, with a few, like I said, with those exceptions, every game seemed to be very tight. Kansas City, Miami, that was kind of tight, but not really. That was another exception, so we'll make that 3 exceptions. But still, you could definitely tell a lot of these teams wanted it very badly. They wanted to advance. They wanted to get to the promised land. But unfortunately, as of yesterday, only two made it. And that, of course, is, let me get some better light here. That is, of course, the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams finally made it to the Super Bowl. Chiefs, second year in a row. 49ers for the first time in 5 years. And yes, it is a rematch of the Super Bowl from 5 years ago in 2019. Now, for anybody that feels like, why are we getting this? Why can't we get something different? Let me remind you of something. This is not the first time the two same teams have met each other in the Super Bowl. Back in the 90s, early to mid 90s, Dallas and Buffalo went back to back. Back in the 70s, Dallas and Pittsburgh went back to back. And then I think they did it again in the 90s, mid to late 90s. So it's nothing new. It's nothing out of the ordinary. This is the first time that it's happened in a 5-year span where we've had a rematch. Now, there's going to be, obviously, and I've talked about this before, and I said everybody has a right to feel this way. There's going to be conspiracy theorists. There's going to be, speculation, if you will, speculative theories, about the officials being very biased to certain teams and players, like being biased to Mahomes, like they were at one time for Tom Brady, being biased towards Brock Purdy, just like they were at one time to Peyton Manning, and so on. Some are going to come out and say that the officials they chose to referee these games, shouldn't have been chosen because it felt like they were lost, and I'm not denying that, because there were times from the start of the playoffs to now, to recently, yesterday, it seemed like the referees didn't know exactly what calls to make, what flags to throw. It felt like they were lost. And hopefully we don't see that in 2 weeks, at the Super Bowl in Las Vegas. Hopefully we don't see that. But the point I'm getting at, long story short, is despite the speculations of biasness, officials not seemingly ready to be part of this and all that, you cannot deny that this was probably one of the better playoff seasons, postseasons, we have seen in a long time. You can't deny that. I mean, when you look at the conference championships, for example, yeah, the Chiefs won by 10 points, right? But it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. They just basically outmaneuvered, out-defensed, and out-offense, but mostly out-defensed Baltimore yesterday. Baltimore was relying on the offense that brought them to the dance, not realizing that a team eventually was going to catch up to them, and that team was Kansas City. And then you take a look at the 49ers in Detroit. We knew Detroit was going to bring it, and it looked like from the very beginning, Detroit was going to run away. It looked like Detroit was going to run away with this, and we were going to have a Detroit-Kansas City Super Bowl. I mean, according to my sister, my middle sibling, my second oldest sister, she said her husband, who's a big 49er fan, was getting upset. It's like he was saying things like, "Oh, this T-shirt I'm wearing it's not working, it's no good, I gotta change," or he would basically be like, "Oh, it's over, it's done, we're done, goodbye," and everything. And my sister kept telling him, "Don't give up so easily, don't give in so easily," because I'm just checking my battery here, it's at 38%. Because basically he's a very passionate 49er fan. You could see that. You could see that. And I could also see that on social media, because there was a lot of people on the 49er Facebook group pages, that as soon as the Lions, took that lead and looked like they were going to run away with this, everybody was giving up on them. They're like, oh, it's over. It's over. Purdy needs to be released. Or get rid of Moody. Or get rid of Shanahan. And da. And one of the things I responded, and people like my response here. One of the things I responded to one of those comments, or one of those, I guess you could say, what is it, topics or whatever they call it. But, or one of those fans basically, uploading the message of, oh, we're done, we're all that on the Facebook page, the message they posted on there. One of the things I responded in the comment section on there was, okay, so how much did you have to drink already? That was my response. I responded to them, and like I said, a lot of people like my response. It's like, so how much did you have to drink already? Because let's be honest, and I'm not trying to be mean about this, not trying to be offensive about this, but let's be honest. People that get that way, when they feel their team is out of it, then all of a sudden the team comes back and wins. Those kind of people are the ones that have already gotten over to the fridge, already got to the fridge or the pantry and pulled out one of these babies, if you will, and have drank maybe the whole freaking case, if not half of it by then, straight up, maybe with a few shots of whiskey and vodka or whatever. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much that's pretty much what those kind of fans are. The ones that have had too much to drink already, and they're going on social media like, oh, we're done, and everything. And then they go into the garage and, like, let's say my brother-in-law, my second older sister's husband does this at times when he gets frustrated, goes in the garage or the little sanctuary or outside, and they just suddenly go poof, 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 smoking away the cigarettes or the marijuana or whatever, or the weed. Those are the kind of people, let's be honest, and we all know it, not just the 49er fandom, but the Chief fandom, the Raven fandom, the Lions fandom, the Packers, Cowboys, Texans, you name it. We've seen those kind of fans on social media to where, they give up on their team so quickly that when they see that their teams come back and won, they're like, oh, yay, we won. But then when you call them out like, oh, yeah, where's that negativity you had earlier? And they don't say anything. But, yeah, besides that, this was definitely one of the best playoff games, or postseasons, I should say, we've ever seen. And that conference championship between the Lions and the 49ers was one of the best I've seen. And all credit to Detroit. All credit to them. They came close. They came very close, to going all the way. There's no doubt. And I have a feeling that this is just the first step. They were close this year. Next year, they might just end up going. And that's a fact. That is a fact. That is a historical fact in most cases. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys, on this year's NFL playoffs. What are you looking forward to the most when it comes to the Chiefs and the Niners in the Super Bowl? Who are you going to be for? And what theories and speculations do you feel kind of hindered the playoffs? And what did you think of the officials officiating? Do you think they were ready to be part of this? Let me know down below, and I will talk to you later. But yep, it's going to be the Chiefs and the Niners in the Super Bowl.